Well, the new baby quail are about 7 weeks old right now, pretty much full grown. They've got a little bit more to go, but it's a good time to do some comparisons between the Jumbo Pharaoh Coturnix and the Jumbo Meat Maker Coturnix. Let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome back to another slightly rednecked video. Again, my name's Chris, and if you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. And today we're going to do some comparisons between, like I said, the Jumbo Pharaoh, which I've got in this cage right here, and Jumbo Meat Makers, which are in the other cage right there. Let me bring you in close. We'll give you a shot of them. These guys are right at 7 weeks old. I'm starting to get eggs out of the Pharaohs. I think only one of the birds is laying though, because I'm only getting about 1 egg a day. Sometimes it skips a day. Haven't gotten any eggs out of the Meat Makers yet. Haven't opened up their cage this afternoon, so maybe they laid today, but I kind of doubt it. So let me bring you in close though. We'll take a look at them, and just visually, there's not a lot of difference. It's real hard to tell the difference between them just looking at them. But we might find that there's a difference when I go to weighing them, which is what we're going to do here in just a minute. Let me bring you in again, show you close-ups of them, get you an idea of what they look like. So these are the Jumbo Pharaohs. I've got them all pinned over on this side of the cage right now. Good sized birds. I mean, some of them are obviously bigger than the others, but they all look pretty good, pretty healthy. Pretty good size for 7 weeks old. Let's go take a look at the Meat Makers now. And these are the Meat Makers. Like I said, look just about the same. I don't have all the Meat Makers over on this side. Some of them are off in the sandbox over there. I'll spook them over here shortly. But you know, like I said, visually looking at them, there's not a lot of difference. It's real hard to tell if any of them look bigger than the others. So let's get to weighing them. All right, so here's how I'm gonna do this. Hopefully this kind of makes sense to you. I've got them all blocked off so they can't get into this side right here. So I'm gonna go in, I'm just gonna kind of look for what I think are probably the biggest ones. I'm not gonna weigh every single bird probably. I'm just gonna weigh 10 or 11 of them, the ones that look to be the biggest. And then I'm gonna move them. Once I weigh them, I've got a little flower pot right here that I put on this scale right here. I'll zero it out, I'll put the bird in there, let it stop flopping around, get a measurement, throw it in this side of the pen. That way I don't get them mixed up and I don't weigh the same bird a couple of times. So hopefully I don't have any big problems with this. We'll see how it goes. Let me grab a bird real quick and we'll get to it. Alrighty, let's see what looks like a good big bird. Let's do a couple of hens and a couple of roosters. That's a rooster. And there we go, there's a hen. Nice big hen, looks like a big bird to me. All right, zero out my scale. Come on, zero, there we go, zero. Get her to quit jumping around. And she is 9.9 ounces. 9.9 ounces. All right. Let me jot that down. And go for another one. Whoa, I gotta watch what I'm doing here. That was almost a disaster. Secure that cage a little better. There we go. All right, who's next? That's a nice big looking hen right there. All right. That looks like 8.9 ounces. Oh, I better write that down. I'm gonna forget. Uh-oh. They knocked the... Get back over there, guys. Oh, no. My plan didn't work. I gotta start all over again now. I don't know which ones I've measured and which ones I haven't. All right, there's no reason you need to watch me weigh every single one of these birds. I'm sure it's not too exciting on camera. So I'll go ahead and get, you know, like I said, about 10. I've got 3 hens weighed right now. I'll go ahead and weigh out probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 more. Give me 7 or 8 of them at least, maybe 10. I don't know, maybe I'll do 10 hens, 10 roosters. I'll see what it feels like. But I'll get some math together and then I'll come back and I'll show you kind of what we got. All right, so I got that finished up with the Pharaohs. It's a little bit tricky trying to get them all to cooperate, keep the cage closed. One man job here would have been easier with 2 people. Should have got my wife out here to help, but that's all right, we got it done. I weighed a total of 14 birds, 7 hens, 7 roosters, and the reason I went with 7 is because when I got to the 7th hen, they knocked the boards over and all the birds kind of started mixing together and I couldn't tell which one was which anymore. So I just stopped with 7, and then I isolated the roosters and counted 7 of those too, just to be consistent. So I don't know that it really matters, but the average weight of the roosters, the hens, the average weight of the hens, 9.5 ounces. The average weight of the roosters, 8.24 ounces. So that gives me an average weight, all birds, 14 birds, 8.9 ounces. Now my biggest hen was 10.9 ounces. I had another one that was 10.8, so those are some pretty good sized birds. My biggest rooster, 9.4 ounces, and another one at 9.3. So there was a mix. There's some smaller birds in there for sure. They'll be the ones I'm going to try to isolate whenever here in about 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to be sending these guys to the, processing the extra ones that I don't need anymore. And I'll go through this process again and I'll try to keep the bigger birds. So I've got kind of a baseline here. I know that I'm going to keep anything that's over 10 ounces. And I'm going to try to fill out enough hens that are over 10 ounces and keep those as my breeders. Same thing with the roosters. I'm going to try to go with the bigger roosters, the 9, anything over about 8.5 ounces would be a keeper rooster. I only need like 2 or 3 roosters at the most, so I'll probably keep the 2 that were 9.3, 9.4 ounces. Hopefully that all makes sense. All right, so that's a whole lot of numbers. I'll try to break it all down for you here in the end. Let's get over and get the meat makers measured. All right, same process for these guys. I'm gonna open this side of the cage up right here, and oh my goodness, that latch is tight. Gotta fix that. And see if I can't get them all. Oh, look at that, I got an egg in there. They started laying. Well, one of them did anyway. So I'm gonna spook them all over to the other side and then try to block it off, and then we'll get in there and get them measured. Go on, guys, go on. Go on, go on. Oh, get back, go, 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 go. There you go, good birds. Let's hope that keeps them in there. Got an egg, first egg from the meat makers. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Let me find my flower pots. So, all right. We want to start with hens. Let's get a hen, let's get a hen. Oh, one of them got over there. Where are the hens? There's a hen. Yeah, I'm looking at these guys. I'm not so sure they're any bigger now. I can get up close to them. We're gonna find out. All right, you guys. Eight ounces, 8.1 actually. Let's see, you look like a pretty good hen. Let's measure you. Max, I don't need your help with this, buddy. You're not being very helpful. Go on. .4. All right, 10.4 ounces. So that's a pretty good hen right there, I could tell. Let's see, let's get this one here too. I don't think that was the same one I already measured. Whoa, you're getting away, aren't you? There we go. You guys knocked the stupid boards down too, didn't you? Okay, so we've got, I better write some of these numbers down before I forget them. Let me get this all done. Not gonna be super exciting to watch, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you the numbers. All right, that was tricky, but I got it done. So here's what we're looking at with the meat makers. The average weight of the hens was 9.14 ounces. The average weight of the roosters, 8.36 ounces. An overall average of all the birds I weighed in the meat makers, 8.75 ounces. Very, very close between the two birds. There's not a huge difference between them. All right, so just to compare the two birds together, the meat makers, the average weight of the hens, 9.14 ounces. The average weight of the Pharaoh hens, 9.5 ounces. It's not enough for me to say the Pharaohs are bigger birds than the meat makers. It wasn't a big enough of a sample to really test it out, but right now it looks like, I mean, they're just pretty much the same. Not much of a difference at all. The roosters, a little interesting here. The roosters, the meat makers were 8.36 ounces on average. And with the Pharaohs, the roosters were 8.24 ounces on average. So the meat maker hens were a little bit smaller, but the meat maker roosters were a little bit bigger. But again, still very, very close. Not a big enough sample and not enough data for me to really say the Pharaohs are bigger than the meat makers or the meat makers are bigger than the Pharaohs. The average weight of the birds overall, meat makers 8.75 ounces, Pharaohs 8.9 ounces. Now I was going to weigh the egg because I got an egg out of the meat maker and I got an egg out of the Pharaohs. And I was going to weigh the egg to tell you the difference between the eggs. I mean, it's not really a good time to do that anyway. I need to give them till they're laying a little bit more consistently, get a bigger sampling. But I was going to do it anyway while we're on video, but I couldn't because when I went to go put the meat maker egg on the scale, I dropped it and busted it on the ground. So clumsy. Anyway, some other interesting observations about this. Like I said, very close in size. Let me get rid of this notebook because I don't need that anymore. I mean, close enough that I call them the same size. You can't really tell the difference between the birds when you look at them. And when you weigh them, there's not a huge difference between them that way either. Now, I do feel like the meat makers may be doing slightly better on feed conversion. It doesn't feel like they're eating nearly as much as what the Pharaohs are eating. But again, I haven't measured that. I don't really know that as a fact. It's just a gut feeling. It's just kind of a feeling I have. In the end, you're not going to go wrong with either one of these birds. They both lay pretty good size eggs. They're both plenty big enough birds. They both grow out really, really fast. These guys are only at 7 weeks and they're already average weight of almost 10 ounces. So really, really happy with those results. Great, healthy birds. Thank you to Kansas City Quail Farm and whoever it was out there that bought the eggs for me from Kansas City Quail Farm and had them shipped to me. I've ended up with some really great birds out of this. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You got something out of it. Thank you so much for watching. As always, God bless.